Hey guys, it's Jess. It's something very exciting today. As you can see here, I've got the Dark Imperium box to unbox for you. Ooh, shiny. So on the time this video goes up, you should be able to walk into your local games workshop and pick up your box right now. Very exciting. I hope you're all looking forward to opening your boxes and get building these amazing new minis. I certainly am. So without further ado, I've got this and we're going to open it for you. I'll just quickly say I got this from Alchemists Workshops. They're a fantastic little online store. You might not have heard of them, but they're really cool. Amazing guys. They've got amazing prices. This is currently £75 on their website with free postage. I'm not sure if that offer continues past the launch, but at the moment on pre-order that is the price, and it's a fantastic price. So absolutely check those guys out. Link will be in the description down below, and there were some free sweeties in the box as well. So I certainly don't complain about free sweeties. So we're going to just take the shrink wrap off, come back, and then we'll see what's inside. Right, the shrink wrap is off. Let's have a look at the box itself just quickly. So we've got the lovely artwork on the front cover with the Primaris Space Marines there facing off against Nurgle. And then over on the back, you've got the contents on there. So you've got a nice shot of the battle and then each of the units and a quick summary of the two forces, the Primaris Space Marines on the left and the Death Guard there on the right. So that's all very cool, and it tells you what's inside the box obviously, as well as the minis. You get the book and some other cool bits and pieces. So this just slides straight out of the slipcover, which is a bit of a first for a Warhammer thing. It would be nice, I would say, it's not the case, but it would be cool if that had some artwork inside and you could fold it out and make a really nice poster. But that's obviously just me being wishful thinking. So yeah, so when you open it up, you get the very cool kind of split imagery of the Primaris Space Marine and the Nurgle Marine on the right. And this is your first tray, so this is a tray within a tray. So you pull that out, and this is the tray that holds all the minis. So just push that to the back, and there you go. So it's a nice deep little tray, and it's got a purity seal keeping it closed, so you know no one's tampered with your minis, because you don't want a box and turns up with the wrong stuff inside or stuff missing. So you absolutely open that up, and there you have your sprues all nicely laid out. So I'll do a quick look at the sprues afterwards, after we've gone through the rest of the contents of the box. I'll zoom in on each sprue so we can have a little look. So I'll just put that to the side at the moment, and we'll see what else we've got. So in the centre you've got the big rule book, and then you've got these two flaps here, so that lifts up that way, and there's your dice. These are kind of nice red translucent dice, really nice quality ones. Very cool indeed. Nothing else on that side. And on this side you've got your bases, including those. You've got your new style flying bases for the Inceptors. And if I can get my finger under it, there's one more base there. And the new plastic range ruler, which has got tucked in a little bit. So there you go. This is a nice clear plastic. It goes up to 12 inches. And it's actually surprisingly sturdy. I was expecting it to be a little bit flimsy, but that's a nice quality bit of plastic there. And fantastic. I mean, 12 inches is your most common thing that lets most units run, I guess. So that's pretty cool. A lot better than the old red range rulers that you used to get in starter sets, which could be a little bit hard to read, I would say. So then we get into the meat of the content, as it were. So the big rule book itself, nicely shrink wrapped. This is the exact same as the version you can get individually outside of the box set for the first time in a long time. So that's really cool. So we'll take a look at that in a second. And then we've got another pack of books. So this one's got the little mini codexes, the building guides, and a core rules sheet as well, which folds out. So we'll have a look at that in a second. And finally at the bottom, a transfer sheet. Now, I don't think people have particularly spoken about this, but this is a really cool sheet because you've got Ultramarines, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, and Space Wolves And then you've got your main markings, you've got honour markings, squad markings, and campaign badges as well, which is really awesome. So you can really individualise and customise your guys, and I really like that. So yeah, that's that Dark Angels transfer sheet. So without further ado, let's have a look at the little mini books first. So I'll just cut and then we'll come back and have a look at those. Okay, so here's the little rule books. So I'll just pop the Death Guard one to the side for a second and try and get my hand under here. The tripod's a little awkward to work around. So the Primaris Space Marines Mini Codex. So we open it up and you've got this cool piece of artwork there on either side. The Angels of Death, a little bit of fluff there. Then you get a little bit about each unit as well. So you've got your captains, your ancients, Primaris lieutenants, intercessor squads, inceptor squads, hellblaster squads, the warriors of Ultramarine. This is all about the Ultramarines specifically. And then you've got a few other chapters here, some very recognisable ones there from your Crimson Fists, Black Templars, Imperial Fists, Blood Angels, Dark Angels, Space Wolves, and some other ones as well. So you've got some White Scars, Salamanders, all sorts, Raven Guard, and then these I think are new foundings as far as I can tell. So those are really cool. Nice kind of little bit of heavy metal painting, I think, showing you the different minis and what they are. And then we get into the data sheets. So this has got the rules for everything you need to know if you want to play with what's in the game. So you get your little bits of, there's your universal rules for the Space Marines. You've got And They Shall Know No Fear, and a little bit about the chapters. And then you've got your Captain in Gravis Armour, or Gravis Armour. I'm going to call him the Gravy Captain or something, I guess. You've got Primaris Lieutenants, the Ancients, Intercessor Squad, Hellblaster Squad, and Inceptor Squads. So there you go. There's your data sheets for all of them. Very neat, very concise. A lot like your War Scrolls for Age of Sigmar. And at the back are the points for matched play if you don't want to use the power levels. So that's really cool as well. So that's the little Ultramarines one. I suspect that we might see the real full codexes being a lot like this, just a little bit more expanded. I like the way the covers look with this kind of standard cover and then a nice piece of artwork sort of overlaid over that. That would be really cool to see the hard covers looking like that. So let's put that one to the side and have a look at the Death Guard one. So it'll be largely the same formula, I should imagine. Got a cool piece of artwork there. Nurgle's Favoured Sons, the Death Guard, and the Lords of Contagion, the Noxious Blightbringers, Malignant Plague Casters, and Plague Marines. I think I prefer this one to the Primaris one just because the artwork I think is a little bit more interesting. But I prefer Nurgle for the most part anyway. Poxwalkers, Fetid Bloat Drones, the Tainted Suns, so I believe this will be a standard kind of colour scheme and iconography. And then you've got a few other ones. They're not quite successor chapters, but they're kind of war bands of Nurgle in kind of different colour schemes, so that's really cool. It'd be really interesting to see how different people paint these armies differently. The Sons of Mortarion, so this is your nice kind of pictures of the minis. All looking very nice indeed. I particularly like the Poxwalkers. I think they're my favourites out of this set. And then the data sheet. So you've got the psychic powers here. You've got Disgustingly Resilient and Plague Weapons, which reroll 1s when attacking with a Plague Weapon. So that's really cool. You've got a bit. It's almost like the Alliance abilities, which is really nice. Lords of Contagion, Malignant Plague Caster, Blightbringers, Plague Marines, Bloat Drone, and Poxwalkers, and then the points at the back again. So yeah, that's really cool. It means that also if you want to just kind of expand by adding more units from what's in the starter set to this army, you can do that without having to purchase a codex or one of the index books, as long as you stick to what's given in there, which is really neat. Apparently, each of the armies in this set come to about 1,000 points, which is quite a lot of points for a starter army in a box. So that's really cool. So you've got two armies, really nice size, ready to go. And it'll be a lot of fun playing with both of those. So I'm looking forward to trying out some test games. While I'm here, let's have a quick peek at the core rules book. I'm not going to focus on the rules themselves, but this is your nice little fold out. So folds out, you've got your movement phase, psychic phase, shooting phase, then charge phase, fight phase, and morale phase. And there's a little bit about transports, and it's all just very concise, really easy to kind of remember, and that'll fit in anyone's bag because it's a nice little kind of about A5, maybe a little bigger than A5, but either way, very cool, right? This is the kind of thing that should always be in a starter set, in my humble opinion. Only a quick look at this, because it's obviously just your instructions on how stuff goes together, but it is all in full colour, showing you what kind of where to glue with the yellow, so you can see exactly where your glue should go, and it should probably have some tips in there as well, and some colour schemes at the end for the Ultramarines. Oh, and the Dark Angels, Blood Angels and Space Wolves as well. That's really cool. So if you're a new painter and you want to kind of go for one of these, it gives you an idea of what colours to pick up. And yeah, absolutely gorgeous looking minis, and it looks like they go together really easily as well. So with those aside, let's take a quick look at the big rule book, and then after we've had a flick through there, we'll have a look at the minis. Ouch. Okay, right, the gorgeous, huge 280 page or whatever it is hardcover rulebook. So I'm kind of going in blind to this one. I didn't have a look at it in my local Games Workshop store. I wanted to kind of keep it a little bit of a surprise as to what was inside, so I've been kind of avoiding the spoilers for it a little bit. So I only really know what I've read in White Dwarf, and White Dwarf hasn't really had a lot until yesterday's issue, which arrived on Monday, and I haven't really read much through it yet. So yeah, let's say we're going in a little bit blind here. So there's a really cool picture. That's a classic picture there of the Emperor on his throne. This is kind of a new key piece of art, which we saw already, but there you can clearly see the Nurgle Primarch Mortarion flying around, so no doubt we'll see him very, very soon on the tabletop. Looking forward to that entirely. Definitely going to try and bring you an unboxing of him. And some more very cool artwork. You got some Khorne versus the Black Templars. There's another iconic piece from the new set. There's your kind of, is that one of the captains? I can't remember. I think it's just a lieutenant, but he's there fighting one of the Death Guard. And then we get to the contents. So you've got a few main sections. There's the bit about the hobby, the Imperium of Man, armies of the Imperium, forces of chaos, the Xenos threat, eternity of war. There is only war, open play, narrative play, matched play, advanced rules, and appendix. So I really love the 3 ways to play thing. That's one of my favourite aspects of Age of Sigmar, and I will definitely be trying out the narrative play specifically for the new 40k. I'm really hoping to bring you some narrative battle reports. I would really love to do that. Wow, look at that. That's an amazing tabletop. That's obviously the Games Workshop kind of board builders at their best. I don't want to know how much money worth of terrain went into that, but that is absolutely gorgeous. You've got to see this up close really when you get your book. Just you could spend 10 minutes more just looking at that picture and just seeing what bits do you recognise, how's it put together, how's it painted. It's just, that could be mind-blowing, absolutely mind-blowing. A little bit about collecting the miniatures, building and painting, and a bit about gaming. Dark Millennium. So I'm guessing this will be the fluff section. So you got the Imperium of Man, Hierarchy of the Imperium, a little bit about the Imperial chapters or forces, I suppose. Empire lost amongst the stars, Mankind and the Imperium. So obviously the storyline has moved along a little bit for this new version of Warhammer. I think it's set about 100 years after the Indomitus Crusade. So I was expecting them to actually kind of cover the Indomitus Crusade as like a campaign, but apparently we're kind of coming in at the end of that, which is interesting. So there's potentially a lot of fluff to catch up on as and when GW decides to fill that out. So that's really interesting. The Ecclesiarchy, Deadly Evolution, so that'll be about Psychers. Then you got the timeline of mankind. Oh, there's a nice little, I didn't even notice that, little bookmark. Age of Darkness, Age of the Imperium, Hope Rekindled, so this is Gilliman coming back. And there's the new map of the galaxy with the Great Rift tearing the galaxy in two down the centre. The Dark Imperium. That's the old cover art from Dark Vengeance. Armies of the Imperium, Adeptus Astartes and the Gene Seed. There's some Primaris stuff, chapters, Blood Angels, Dark Angels. You may be aware that I like Dark Angels myself, so I'm looking forward to getting them on the table. And all of that. Astra Militarum. Wow. Adeptus Mechanicus. The artwork is just fantastic in this book, gotta say. Imperial Knights, they now seem to be called Questor Imperialis. That's interesting that they've kind of given them a more specific copyrightable name. Imperial Agents, like the Assassins. The Imperium at War, so I'm guessing this will be all mini shots. Beautifully painted stuff. This is going to be quite a long video actually, isn't it? Hope you're enjoying it. The Forces of Chaos, the Chaos Gods. So there we go, there's the 4 Chaos Gods. So you've got Khorne, Tzeentch, Nurgle and Slaanesh. No doubt if you watch Idic Beer's videos you'll notice he's starting a Slaanesh Demons army, which will be really interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with that. Demons of Chaos. Heretic Astartes, aka the Chaos Space Marines. But Heretic Astartes is obviously the kind of name they're going to try and focus on, I should imagine, going forwards. Thousand Sons, Renegades, let's move that out of the way. Chaos Unbound, because obviously sometimes you just want to mix and match all the Chaos stuff together because it's fun, right? Absolutely tons of great artwork. And the Xenos Threat. So you got the Eldari. And the Craftworld Eldari, the Drukhari, which is the new name for Dark Eldar. Is it a new name? Maybe it's been in the fluff for a while, but they're only really embracing it now. Harlequins Inari is the new faction for the Eldar, which is interesting. The Necrons. It's a really nice piece of artwork about the dynasties and the war gear. Orcs, so you got your favourite orc clans, they're still around. Awesome artwork. Some cool pictures of the weapons. And the Tau Empire, who've gained an apostrophe, which is pretty interesting. It's the Tau, but they're still pronounced Tau. Some classic artwork there from the Codex. Tyranid Hive Fleets. It'll be very interesting to see what's happening with the Tyranids now the Great Rift is open. Will they be able to kind of cross past that? Who knows? Genestealer Cults, very cool army. The Alien Menace. Not even at the rules yet, guys. There's just so much to this book. So much artwork. This is why you want your core rules fold out, by the way, because you don't want to lug this around to all your games with you. So you just take your codex, you take your core rules, and for the most part you should be pretty good to go. This is just something you kind of refer to at home. Ultramar. So you got stuff about the individual war zones, which is really cool. The March of Plagues, Deadlocked. So is this actually a battle plan, or the Fall of Cadia? I guess this is historical stuff and telling you who was fighting. Well, that's really cool, because it allows you to kind of recreate some of this if you want to do some really awesome narrative gaming. I like that. Warzone Stygius. The Blood Crusade. That's really cool. There is only war, so this will be playing the game, yeah. So there's your open play, narrative play and matched play overview. How to use your data sheets and confirmation of the codex is coming back. Then there's the core rules, which we've looked at very quickly on the fold out. As an example turn, this is pretty nice because it kind of gives new players an idea of how the game actually runs down. And obviously there's a few changes there compared to what veterans of 40k are used to as well. So it's a really nice little read. Fighting a battle, only war, this is your standard battle plan. But obviously there's a lot more in here as well. Open play, basically saying that that's your unrestricted play. And I'm guessing those are a few little scenarios. Narrative play, which is really cool stuff where you start taking in very specific storylines into your games, and winning the match might not necessarily be your end goal if you've got like a bigger plan in the works. So looking forward to doing some of those. So you've got the meat grinder, the ambush, a patrol, blitz, sabotage, rescue. Okay, so those are the narrative battle reports. Historical battles lets you recreate some, that's awesome as well. So you've got ambush at Dorak Pass. Oh, okay, there's just one of those. Then you got the matched play, which is what I should imagine most people will probably kind of lean towards, especially if they're tournament gamers. This will be most familiar to you. So you got choosing your armies, you use your points if you want, and you can choose missions for this. I should imagine even if you're doing narrative, you can sometimes use these missions or vice versa. There's nothing saying you can't mix and match elements that you like, which is, you know, at the end of the day, you just do what you want to do, don't you? So you've got Eternal War missions, Retrieval, No Mercy, Big Guns Never Tire, The Scouring, The Relic, and Secure and Control. I believe most of these will probably be fairly familiar in some form or another. Tactical Objectives. And then you've got your Maelstrom of War missions, which are the ones where you use your random objectives. Cleanse and Capture, Contact Lost, Spoils of War, Tactical Escalation, Deadlock, Cloak and Shadows. So there's plenty of rules in here for different types of games. Advanced rules. So what does this include? Cities of Death, Death from the Sky, Stronghold Assault, Planet Strike. Really cool. A bit about battle forging your army into your detachments, and obviously detachments unlock command points which you can use for stratagems, and it'd be really cool going forward again to see what stratagems individual armies unlock. So that's going to be really cool. A little bit about battlefield terrain, battle zones. So these are really cool. We saw a little bit about this on the community page. This is if you want to recreate a battle zone with a theme, so fighting at night. There might be like a psychic storm over the entire battlefield that can affect how things work out. All that sort of really interesting kind of stuff, because you're playing on otherworldly planets, right? You're not necessarily going to be on a peaceful, sunny, grassy field. So it's really cool that you can kind of recreate the situations and the scenarios of the planet you're on. There's your Planet Strike rules, and a mission for that. Cities of Death, for the people with loads of terrain, or if you go to a club that's got lots of terrain. And you've got Fire Sweep, Stronghold Assault. These are all stuff that was previously big supplements as well, so it's really cool that it's all in the rulebook. Death from the Skies, that was a little bit a Marmite thing I think for the previous edition, but we'll see how people respond to this new Death from the Skies. Multiplayer, if you want to play 4-player games, which is amazing. Campaigns, how to run a campaign. Another nice bit of artwork, and we're getting close to the end, so here's just a little appendix of some extra stuff. And the index at the back. So there you go, there's the massive, gorgeous, beautiful new rulebook. I can't really put it into words, that's just really nice. Very cool. Definitely really amazing to have that in the starter set. I don't know if there's ever been a hardback like this in a 40k starter set before. I mean, 2nd edition, 3rd edition, you had these kind of nice quality paperbacks, but this is something else, right? So that's very, very cool. Anyway, we've had a little look at that. It's taken us a while to get here, but now we're going to have a look at the minis and the sprues. So, if you'll bear with me a little second, I'm going to go and find that little box with all the sprues again. Okay, so here's the first of the sprues that we're going to look at. This is actually sprue F, so technically probably the last of the sprues, but this is the big one for the Imperial side. One cool thing I will mention is that you've got sprues very clearly for the Imperial sides and the Nurgle sides, which makes it a lot easier to swap the armies over with your friends. You don't have to like clip a few bits out, a few bits here and a few bits there to try and swap the armies over, so you don't have any of that kind of awkwardness when trying to swap your Nurgle for his Space Marines or whatever. But that's just a quick point. So yeah, here we go. So this is some promo Space Marines. You can see the banner up there, and then a bunch of components for building the regular guys. You can kind of see how they're monoposed ones. They're not individual. You haven't got like separate shoulder pads and separate arms and what have you. But they go together to make really cool dynamic posing. So I think people will generally be okay with that. It'll be interesting to see what the actual individual kits look like for these, to see just how flexible they are, whether they're like the irregular Space Marine kits. So there's not a huge amount to point out on there, because it's all fairly standard stuff. You've got the new backpacks, the new bigger bolt rifles, and obviously the Mark 10 armour, which is a lot taller than previous Space Marine armour is. And yeah, so that's your first sprue, that's a big one. And then we get onto a few smaller ones. So you got this one here. You can see this has got some of the Inceptors on it, because there's those new bolt kind of, whatever they call them, those new kind of bolt guns, like the Storm Rifle or something like that, or Bolt Storm, or who knows. But you've got this really interesting shaped backpack that goes on there, which has all the parts for flying. And yeah, so they're really cool. The heads are separate, so you can probably hot swap those out if you want. I should imagine a few people might decide to put some bear heads on some of these. Maybe not these exact minis, but on some of them perhaps. So that's that one. So overall you get 4 sprues for the Imperial side. So here's another sprue. I think this is, yep, you've got some Inceptors there as well. And I think there's a few regular Intercessors on there. So it's kind of a little bit of a random mix of what's on which sprue. But I'm sure it all goes together very easily with the instructions. So there's one of those new plasma weapons there. They're really huge. I don't know if you can really kind of see. But, oh wow, that is huge. You don't get the idea in the pictures of just how big these new minis really are. And the final sprue here has that nice cloak. This is your Captain in Gravis armour, no doubt, around here with that nice bit there. There's another Inceptor. So yeah, it's kind of like, it's all spread out over multiple sprues, so it's hard to really show you what you get. But what I will try and do, hopefully I'll have time, is to build the minis up and then come back and quickly show you those before I have to put this video live. Hopefully I'll be able to do that. So yeah, that's the Primaris side. And then hopping over to the Nurgle, which I think will be more interesting anyway, is the big sprue for Nurgle. So you can see there's half of the bloat drone and there's the other half of him there. What else have we got? There's like the front panel with a beady eye, looking really cool. There's an awesome Nurgly cloak there. Oh, just so Nurgly. These are the underslung weapons for the bloat drone. And the detail is just absolutely awesome. Like, look at that shoulder pad there. I hope you can see that with the skulls. That's so nice. So yeah, you can see that the way they go together is really interesting, because you've got a shoulder pad pretty much attached to a leg there, which is pretty strange. But the way they go together, the way they kind of work it out on the computers these days is just insane. So I'm looking forward to building these guys up, I'll tell you that much. There's these ones. So you've got this cool kind of bell hanging from this bony growth on the backpack there. There's a few chest pieces, there's the other part of the bell. There's this chap here, that's part of the sorcerer up there, which I really like. And there's the sorcerer's staff, hope you can see that. Yeah, really cool, and that's like a flamethrower type of thing coming out the sorcerer's hand. I think he's just casting some kind of mucky, dirty spell at someone. And then we get onto the 2 sprues of Poxwalkers. Is this 2 of the same sprue? It looks like it is. That's pretty cool. So you get 2 sprues the same, which is, are they both called the same? D and D. Interesting. Okay, so I've got 2 sprue Ds. I don't know if that is normal or not, but we'll see. So yeah, there we go. That's the Poxwalkers. There's not too much to show, but they're just really cool minis. Yeah, looking forward to getting my hands on these ones as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll come back to you with the made up minis at the end of this video. If not, they'll be in a separate video that follows, depending on how much time I have to get this one edited and uploaded and having these built. So if this is the end of the video, thanks for watching this unboxing. It's an absolutely fantastic set. I would definitely recommend it to anyone who wanted to get into the new 40k, if you're a new player or a returning player. And again, link in the description to Alchemists Workshops, who provided this fantastic box set for me, and I've already ripped the box in the corner. What am I like? Yep. So I'll put the link in the description. I'm going to go and eat my fizzers and get back to you very soon with more content. Bye. Thanks for watching.